Hello and welcome to the Game Theory Podcast over on YouTube. I'm your host, Sam Vecenie. Over there in Boston is Matt Pennie. Periodically, before the 2022 NBA Draft, we're going to dive deep into the best prospects that this class has to offer. Today, we're talking about a guy that is a likely first-round pick, a guy we've talked a lot about this year as someone that we love for the future. We're a little bit surprised he's in the 2022 class, but he is a valuable prospect nonetheless. It is Dalen Terry out of Arizona. As usual, the structure of these videos, Matt Pennie is going to dive deep into the vital information that you need to know. Then we're going to jump into his offensive breakdown, his defensive breakdown, and his overall status as a prospect before jumping into some potential team fits. So, Pennie, I give you the floor. Give us everything you need to know about Dalen Terry.
I'll give you just enough what you need to know. Dalen Terry of Arizona, by the numbers, he measured out at over 6'7" in shoes with a 7-foot plus wingspan. By the numbers this year on the floor, 8 points, 4.8 rebounds, 3.9 assists, shot over 50% from the field, 36.4% from three, 73.6% for the free throw line. Did only take 77 threes this year, so that number is a little bit skewed. Some of his highlights. He had 15 points, 7 rebounds, 7 assists versus UCLA when Kirk Kriisa was out. He took on more of a primary role. Had 16, 7, and 4 against Wright State in that field of 64 game. And the last game of the year against Houston, he left on a high note, had 17 points, 6 rebounds, and 3 assists. He really started putting potential and turning that into production by the end of the season.
Yeah, offensively, I think the thing that stands out most is his ability to grab and go in transition, right? He makes early decisions, and those early decisions result in clean looks, either for three-point kickouts or shots at the basket. I thought that Tommy Lloyd did a phenomenal job this season of getting Arizona into a situation where they are taking smart shots. I thought their offense ran really, really well, and it was in part because they had multiple ball handlers out there. I thought that Terry particularly partnered really well with Ajolis Tubelis and Christian Koloko to deliver reads either in transition, where Tubelis would be streaking down the court and Terry would hit him right in stride, or he'd throw lobs right to Christian Koloko, like in the dunker spot, right? He runs ball screens really well. I thought Arizona's offense actually ran a little bit better with him at the point guard position than when it had Kirk Kriisa there. I just think he's a little bit better at kind of collapsing the defense and pressuring the defense. He just throws some fucking wild bounce passes to cutters, man. Like fun passes through tight fucking windows. Like it's hard to be as aggressive as a playmaker as Dalen Terry is, and to post a 3-to-1 assist to turnover ratio as a teenager. Like, he's throwing high degree of difficulty passes. He's completing them. He's making good decisions. Like, I think it's harder to do that than what he's going to get credit for potentially in the pre-draft process.
He is. It's sort of like a stuntman that doesn't get injured. You keep warning how he keeps standing up at the end of the day. He's a Swiss Army knife on offense. He is. He does a little bit of everything. And I'd argue we only saw glimpses of the full package with Dalen Terry. He really played 1 through 3, and a lot of the 1 was when Kirk Kriisa was injured. He's great at making things happen. He can be this true impact player with momentum-shifting plays, whether that's an offensive rebound, it's a tip-in, it's a drive, it's a fadeaway jumper. He uses that length well around the basket. He's fantastic on the break and transition, whether he's finishing or finding the open man. The shot is better, and that's still the holdup with him. He has narrow feet and a really narrow release. He gets really skinny. It does look all right off the dribble, and with these small pull-ups, he's going to have to extend that range out to 3. That's why the 36% number is a little misleading, because he didn't take a ton of reps there, so it's such a small sample size. But he's an energy giver, and that's why I'm drawn to him. His personality and his drive show when he's out there. He has a little bit extra flair on a pass, the feeds, the cuts. He's nonstop. And in time, we'll have to develop what he's going to hang his hat on for a true skill in the NBA. And currently, it's just a little bit of each from a bunch of different buckets.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the shooting. That is definitely the swing skill here. Made 34.4% of his catch and shoots, 35.6% from 3 overall, according to Synergy. He just has to be set and standing still right now. Like, there's no movement ability there. If you leave him open, He can make them. I just feel more comfortable with him as a driver and a playmaker right now. Rises up to dunk and finish with length. Cuts really well, I think, as well. He made 55% of his finishes at the rim, which is a solid number for a guy that like created a lot of those looks himself. Obviously, though, like defensively, I think is where he really shines. He was an all defense player in the Pac-12 this year. He just flies. Like you said, like he's an energy guy. Like he's aggressive on the ball. He attacks like opposing players' dribble. He crawls into their space. Like he just annoys the shit out of guards and wings on the perimeter right now. He has this ability to like be in their space while also simultaneously backpedaling and not getting hit with a foul call. Like it's really hard to do that and like mirror footwork in the way that Dalen Terry is capable of, but he can do it. I think he might actually even be better on smaller perimeter players right now than he is on bigger guys because of the lack of strength. He's going to have to improve that strength at some point, but there's just a lot here. There's just a lot here to really, really like.
There's a lot of good stuff. There's a lot of versatility. He has those quick hands for deflections, for steals, for tip-backs, for rebounds. And when Arizona pressed, he could play almost anywhere. That's how malleable he is to everything else that's out there. He stunts and can recover. He flies around all over the place. Now, he doesn't always get low enough, but he does fight to get through it. Like the intention's there, but just some of the tactic to do that isn't necessarily like aligned. But he's not intimidated. When he switched on to a big, like he's going to fight you, he really battles to hold his ground. And he'll talk, he'll communicate, he calls out actions out there. He's so frantic that he almost doesn't even process when it's a mistake. It's just an immediate recovery and into the next spot. It does also scream, needs refinement, needs some honing, but the ball of clay is really appealing as what he already has for defensive tools.
Okay. So where do you have Dalen Terry right now?
I have Dalen Terry very high, higher than most. I definitely have him in the top 20 somewhere. And one of these players I'd argue that fits anywhere coming off the bench. And that's a compliment. He's going to help wherever he's needed. He just adjusts to so many different styles of play. I'd love him with a team that wants him to push and play really fast and pull the best out of him and not slow down when he just wants to run with everybody else.
I think it's really hard to find guys that have this mix of passing, playmaking, decision making, transition play, defense, and potential to shoot while being 6'7" and a 7'1" wingspan, while having this kind of energetic presence on the court, right? And that is also this productive across the board as a teenager. I have a top 20 grade on Dalen Terry too. I absolutely love him. I think this is the kind of guy that NBA teams should be investing in, given where the league is going. Wing value is at an all-time high, and Dalen Terry just really, truly brings that value at a substantial level. Where do you think the best fits are, though?
Fits are it's difficult. You look the middle of the first round, and I just looked. I have him 15th. But like he could fit at Atlanta with 16. Could see him as kind of a contingency at 18 with the Bulls, with Zach LaVine leaving and Lonzo Ball being banged up a little bit. Makes sense.
We don't think Zach LaVine's leaving, though.
My point is this: some of that's in flux. That like he can fit in whether he needs to be like the fifth guy on offense or coming off the bench to give those guys a blow. I'm not trying to get them to aggregate to say like someone's leaving. My point is like if it happens, he's there. The point is we're prospects. We're Dalen Terry. Somewhere 15 to 20, I'd feel very comfortable. Beyond that, we're getting crazy if we're going higher.
How amazing would it be if someone aggregated a Dalen Terry prospect breakdown video saying, "Oh yeah, Zach LaVine's leaving Chicago"?
No.
That's not what was meant there. I like all those spots. The other spot that really stood out to me was Milwaukee. Actually, if he gets down to 24, Milwaukee just has real success with these kind of wing players. I think they could use another guy that can create on the ball while also being a switchable defender in the way that Dalen is. They could use a guy that's a little bit longer that can guard perimeter players when Drew Holiday needs a blow, because Drew is 6'4" and does a phenomenal job. I think he's one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, but I do wonder if there is a space where they could use just one more guy to give him a blow a little bit more often. But I digress. For Matt Pennie over in Boston, I'm Sam Vecenie. Please remember, rate, review, subscribe, do everything you can to support the Game Theory Podcast over on YouTube. We will be back later this week with more. Until next time, we will talk soon. Bye.